heck the party was thinking when they volunteered a special carcass to a group of monks that may or may not have a penny between them. I think that's a good place to start. Berthold, do you want to start this one?
What? Berthold wakes up and wonders what's going on. Why are we... Has the Karen already been started yet, or...
No, I'm imagining that pretty much all the buyers have left, but otherwise you all are still in camp. That's where we left it last.
So Berthold just wandered
Where
out.
was Berthold during all this? What's the character action he's taken?
Let's see, since I was gone last week, Berthold had talked to the shop owner, had convinced him to come take a look at the adder, and he's thinking pretty smugly to himself, we could probably get some good deals for this thing. Berthold, the salesman, yeah. And so he still wasn't feeling too well, from the various injuries he's gotten and what's the word I'm looking for? Just getting off the addiction to the stock. So it's like, yeah, you guys, I'll go ahead and handle this. I'm just going to go take a nap for a little while. Let me know when we got a good bid going on, and then go take a nap. And then as he wakes up, he looks around. It's like, well, why are they all leaving? Have we come to a decision?
Zygmunt's just busy putting his equipment on Adalbert and just says, we have.
Oh! What was the high bid then?
Not a lot.
What?
We sold the remains of the corpse to the Order of St. Hubert.
Oh, okay, well, how much are they willing to pay for it? It's a fairly rare adder, so I imagine they're probably willing to hand over a good amount for it.
I think sold might be a bit of a fabulous word for what just happened.
Elena would furrow her brow and say, they gave us their pocket lint.
They offered us a powerful relic, the promise of a powerful relic upon delivery to Adershield, as well as the aid of their organization.
Oh, did they say what this relic is?
No.
Oh.
Do you guys remember very clearly, and she'd pinch her forehead between her fingers, something about us getting swindled, not very long ago. And wasn't it Jurgen who also did that deal? She tapped her finger against her face.
This was my decision. Zygmunt will kind of pipe up.
And if we're being completely fair, I had a healthy part in the previous encounter.
Elena would just kind of shake her head. But really? And then she just kind of raised her hands up in the air. Oh, all right. This music.
We're going to conquer the West, boys!
Yeah.
It was really loud, too. I'm just going to adjust some volumes in the background. Don't let me stop you. Go on ahead. Sorry about that.
I had a bunch of thunder build up, and then all of it just kind of got popped out.
These are men of God, and they're also men of knowledge. They might know more about Adder that we can learn when we're in Adershield.
Furthermore, their organization is well known, well distributed across the entire region, and having their good graces and favor would be a boon. It may not be the most immediately beneficial option, but it does benefit humankind, larger, and it is godly work to help out these men.
Who knows what the relic is?
What is our current, what's in our coffers right now?
Jurgen would reach under his robes and pull out sort of a little pocketbook. Enough to get us there, although we will not have much money in the way for equipment upgrades or other bells and whistles.
Elena would look down at the pants that she's wearing, and she happens to be wearing the pair of baggy pants that she had won off of the...
No. Brita bought her new ones, remember?
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Still, she'd look down at her pants. She'd lift up the fabric a little bit and wave it in between her fingers. But I'm pretty sure that knowledge of adders doesn't buy me any clothing or feed me or put shoes on my feet.
It allows us to kill more adder to then supply you with pants.
Furthermore, we have more than enough funds to cover necessary expenses. However, if you are unhappy with the way company is being handled, I could always pay out your share and send you on your way.
And she just kind of raised her hand and opened her mouth and then shut it a couple of times and then just raise her hands up in a kind of futile gesture. I don't whatever you guys really want to do with this. And she put her hand on her forehead. I don't think it was a good idea, but clearly I wasn't paying enough attention to actually offer my opinion here.
Jürgen would turn back to Bertolt. Furthermore, we have 240 gallons of the unique adder blood, as well as an assortment of unique talons. And, 20 more shards than we came to Stuttgart with? A barrel of black bile, and some other knickknacks. These we can either sell along the way or hold on to. It may be a good idea to pass some of them off just for the inconvenience of transporting them, since we are going to need to. And Jürgen would look back towards the body that they've brought out. Find a cart that can fit that.
Wait, I thought we sold it then to them. So why do we need a cart for it? They would have to provide their own equipment.
We're going to be escorting them to Adershield, both to retrieve our prize, as well as provide security to make sure that it gets there intact.
Huh, okay. So what is the route we're taking?
Jürgen
We
would
will
look
need
to...
get back to Forsheim.
Excuse
Float it
me?
down the river.
Did you say Forsheim?
Well, we can either take it back to Forsheim and float it down the river, or we can haul this thing across the mountains.
Can we float Jürgen down the river?
I don't think we're taking suggestions.
True enough.
That seems
I
like the
mean-
best route, right, Jay? I'm trying to double check here. Or the
Yeah,
quickest
that's
route.
honestly, being able to take the river is going to save you all a heck of a lot more time than trying to. It really depends on how. Do you want to take the main river route, which would take you pretty much down and then over? Sorry, and then over, which is a little longer, but you're also taking. It's easier to move because it's a much larger river, or you can take a smaller pass. That is a shorter overall route, but it is also a much narrower river. The chances of things happening and blockages occurring are more possible.
Bertolt is scratching his chin. Nonplussed look is on his face. Oh yeah, I could expect this is going to be dicey if we're going back to Forsheim.
Truthfully, that may be the hardest part of the journey, but once we are on the river, there's... Either direction we take, there's little that could be done to stop us. It'd be a relatively easy journey from there.
Yeah, and trying to take that to the mountains between the various terrain and wildlife issues is just no. I'd rather deal with that scum in Folsheim, and if they happen to rear their heads again, than whatever the wilds to the south would have.
Besides, we might be able to get our lost shards back.
Ah!
And Zygmunt will pat Jürgen on the back and then start walking back to his horse.
Jürgen's facial expression doesn't change. He's had sort of the same deep frown he usually has this entire time.
Brita offers him some cream for his worry lines.
What? No, no, thank you.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's a joke.
Why would you give him milk?
Oh boy.
About the time that you're discussing this, one of the monks comes over and approaches the group and says, "So, are we prepared for the journey?"
Well,
Surely we won't be staying around here much longer. Do you need anything more?
A
that,
second pair of pants would be nice.
you've got a pair of pants. Shut up.
I said second pair.
Just don't set this one on fire. Anyways, this is more of a question for you, Jay.
Oh, okay.
We've got the 2 carts. Would that be enough?
Yeah, it's basically on a sled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not going to be fast going, but you could drag this thing with the horses you have.
How many horses do we have we taken up? Because I know we've got
You
10.
have 11 horses.
No, we've got 10. I killed one.
Oh, that's right.
I forgot.
What would be the optimal amount of horses to attach to the sleigh?
Well, you're going to need at least 4 to pull it. Yeah, I've already taken that.
So
Okay.
we've got 4, and then we've got how many on our carts?
Well, you only need for your regular carts. You only need 2.
And then 4 for the steel cart. So we're literally at right now. We've got no spares.
Yeah, but you did have extra horses. Now you've got just enough. Because you took in all those horses from the assassination attempt.
Yep. Well, then Jurgen's going to look at Zygmunt and just say, we might want a backup horse or 2 in case one of ours is injured along the road or we need to swap them out because of fatigue, but otherwise, we're good to go. We have enough supplies for a week's worth of food, and we have the ability to get moving. We would just need to break camp.
How long is the trip to go from back to Forsheim down the river to Shield?
Well, it is about 5 days back to Forsheim. And then it is... Hold on just a second, let me check. Which route were you thinking of taking? Down to Nagold or down to the closest point to Aderjaeger?
We haven't really discussed that yet.
But yeah, we'll definitely...
If you go by Nagold, it's about 3 days by river.
And then another, 2-3 days by foot?
4 days by foot.
Okay. And if we go...
So we should at least get 3 weeks of supplies then, just to be sure.
Well, we don't need to get it all at once. We'll be stopping in Forsheim. We can buy food there.
Are we also traveling on, like, actual roads, or are we just taking the straightest path there? Because that looks like the straightest path as opposed to what is an actual road.
That's not a road. Those are rivers. There's no roads on the map except for the red line painted.
Okay, the red line is the road. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, never mind.
But and I'm just using the measurement to get a rough estimate of time. It's not a perfect system. The map
we
is
can
to scale distance, but that's about it.
So we can make it to Leonberg in about a day or 2.
If you go back, day and a half, 2 days, with the dragging it 2 days.
Yeah. So I'm thinking we make it to Leonberg, we restock for the 5-day trip to Forsheim. We can restock in Forsheim before we hit the river, and then depending on how things go on the river, we have Call halfway down, or Nagold all the way down.
Yep.
And then obviously resupply Nagold and then hit up Aderjaeger.
Honestly, we shouldn't even have to stop in Leonberg. We've got enough supplies to make the straight journey to Forsheim, because we've got 7 days worth of food.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and it's basically 5 days worth of travel, and then maybe half a day to get back into Stuttgart. So tops, it's 6 days.
Verifying. Forsheim was the place with the crazy...
Yes.
Okay.
The Hatters, yes. Just to clarify, because it's been a while, not Hatters, like Hatters, Hatters, Hadders.
The Hatters and the... What was the other mining group?
No, it was just the Collectors Guild.
Yeah.
No. Did you base this off of, like, the historical thing with the Hatters and the...
No, that's... Are you thinking the Hatfields and McCoys?
Yes.
That's in South
from-
Virginia.
Yeah.
That's America.
I'm just gonna go sit in my shame box.
No, the Hatters is
West
just the
Virginia,
name.
not South Virginia.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Guys, I'm tired.
Anyways, we've got the supplies right now to make the journey to Forsheim. Then we can basically grab food and supplies in Forsheim for whichever boat route we take. My only concern right now is that if we take the shorter route, the one over here, we're going to need to basically prep for the entire journey to Aderjaeger. Whereas if we go down to Nagold, we could resupply in Nagold and then make the journey on foot to Aderjaeger.
on top of that, just as a general knowledge you all would already know, this area, the shorter path, is not settled primarily. So this could all be Adder territory for all you know. This path is very well traveled.
Yeah, but that also makes it bandit territory.
It does indeed. But it is also a wider river, so it would be a little harder to ambush you on it.
Plus, if they tried to ambush us on the river, we can just turn the cannon on them.
You do have a cannon, yes.
Oh, speaking of which, I need to, son of a bitch, I need to pick up my sword from that guy.
Oh god, and we're also gonna have to... We're actually, yeah, we're gonna need at least one more horse for the cannon. Because
That's true.
yeah, we're gonna need a horse to tow that cannon.
Although that guy is not a horse salesman.
Yeah, no. But yeah, we're gonna want to get 2 to 3 horses.
Could some of us walk and
Yeah.
the horses?
I'll donate
that-
Adalbert to the cause.
Yeah, but I feel like we're gonna have like health penalties if we're walking the whole way.
Some people, like, a horse can
Walk
carry
to-
2
to
people.
Stuttgart.
I mean, to be fair, some of us are also gonna be riding in the wagons, and we can make the porters walk. It's really the transporting the supplies that's the difficult part. If we have enough horses for the carts and the cannon, we'll be okay. But as it stands right now, we need at least one more horse for the cannon, and it'd probably be realistically want to get a couple more horses than that, just in case if we lose a horse on the road or one gets fatigued, we're gonna need a couple that we can swap in.
I mean, that makes sense. I think it would be reasonable for us to buddy up on riders. Like, we don't need to
We're
have
not-
one horse per rider.
Nobody's riding horses except for those of you who have horses of horse items. The thing is, we're literally talking about the company's horses pulling supplies, not personal horses.
Okay.
And also, wouldn't horses not be able to, like, trying to have someone like Berthold and then somebody else on a horse and like kill the horse pretty quickly?
It would not be good.
Well, I mean, you could do that, but understand that it would take longer to reach your destination.
Oh my god, I was muted. I was shedding horse knowledge on you guys. God damn it. It's possible to have 2 riders on a horse, but they will fatigue faster.
Right. You will not be able to get the full 10 miles per day.
How much can a horse then have on its back? Because Berthold weighs over 300 pounds.
I mean,
Is that
how
with or
big is
without
Adder?
armor?
That's outside of his armor.
How big of a horse is Adalbert? What did we establish on that?
I'm assuming he's a war horse of some sort.
He's yoked.
Then I don't know, man. He could probably fit like another, I'd say 150 pounds before that horse is having a bad day.
I still think it would just be prudent to get 2 or 3
That's true.
extra horses. I think that's just going to be the best decision
Yeah, I
long
mean,
term.
we can walk 7 miles to Stuttgart and then resupply our horse
Yeah.
accounting.
Yeah, I think that's just going to be the best solution. And to be fair, guys, doing the math, we'll still be fine if we buy some horses. Because that's going to be about 200 to 300 per horse. If we say we're on the expensive side, we fail all our rolls, we end up spending 900 on 3 horses. We'll be fine.
250 should be what you'll pay for a horse, roughly.
Yes.
I mean, we didn't piss off the horse dealership, so.
No. If we lose, but like, what I'm saying is if we lose 1,000 gold on horses, we're still gonna be okay. The math still works out that we'll be able to feed everybody and we'll be able to pay everybody's wages.
We can hawk some shards or some talents if we need to.
Yes, we can. But 21,000, it's not a lot in terms of gearing up the party. It's a lot in terms of keeping us afloat. We have enough to make the journey. I should say 20,000, because yeah, we're probably going to spend a bit on horses.
You should actually have 26,000.
Oh, okay, my bad.
26,914.
Yes, so 25,000. I'd be willing to bet, talking specifically just about people's wages and supplies, we're not realistically going to spend more than 5,000 to make the journey. Because currently we're paying our guards and our porters 2 gold a day. We have, 15 guards? Or 15 guards and porters all combined? So that's 30 gold a day. That's going to be, let's see, it's going to be about a 2 to 3 week journey. Let me whip out a calculator.
15. It's 9 porters, 5 guards, and Edward. So that's 15. I mean, assuming you consider Edward Storch as a full...
So, if this journey ends up taking us a full month, 30 days, we would only spend 900 gold on wages. So that's 1,000 gold on wages if this were to take a full month. And obviously we're going to have port fees, obviously we're going to have to buy food, but the math still works out fine. I'm willing to bet absolute maximum, everything goes wrong and we have a lot of trouble along the way, we are not going to spend more than 5,000 gold making this journey. And we're currently sitting at 25,000 if we buy a lot of horses. So we're good. Don't worry that much about the money, guys. It just means we probably don't want to be going and buying powered armor is the thing.
Alright, so what is the next plan of action?
Get to Stuttgart, buy some horses, whatever supplies we need, and get on the road.
Yep,
Alright.
that sounds about right.
And that's your marching order to your group?
Well, that's what I recommend. That's
Yeah,
I'm not the one to decide that.
This is what we're doing.
Okay. As you all start at least getting things settled, Victor approaches Jurgen, Zygmunt, Berthold, and whoever happens to be hanging around. So, you're leaving?
Yes, we're going to deliver this Adder corpse to the Order of St. Hubert in Adershield.
Oh, Adershield. I've always wanted to be there. You don't happen to need a mechanic of some sort, by chance? Seems my commission got revoked after the core burned down.
Ooh, that's no good.
Jurgen would kind of lean to look around Victor. And the cart comes with you?
Well, it's my cart. I just have to change the livery, of course. They don't want false representation.
I gotta stop for a minute. You're really gonna make Jurgen treat this guy like an item because he's got a cart?
I mean, Jurgen's thinking dollar signs right now. If he had to buy the dude a whole new cart, no. But he's coming fully stocked. All we have to do is maybe pay his wages and feed him. That's a good deal.
I'm not even mad. I'm just.
Jurgen is a very practical man, all right?
I mean, Zygmunt will kind of look to Jurgen and say, well,
All right,
we need
Locust.
of a mechanic since Orist left.
It would be a good idea, somebody to have around. Although, please, no more experiments into something that explodes.
But things that explode are exciting. I mean, but I suppose I could certainly hold that off for a little bit.
It just
Maybe
at
away
least
from camp.
away from camp, not a,
Lipovchenko?
Yeah.
I didn't think he was this far. Wait, he is my cousin.
Everybody is Orist's cousin.
No, he's my cousin. You don't understand. Oh,
Jurgen buries his face in his palm.
Some large woman or something.
Elena
Yes.
starts
Yes,
groaning
he
in the
did.
background.
Do we have a story for Orist?
Yeah, he ran off with the
We
barber.
have no story.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. It goes in.
No, I thought the story was that he ran away with the lady that he
Yeah.
met at the end.
I thought she ran off with him.
Okay, they
think
ran off
Elena
together.
Kidnapped him.
Oh.
Dan, can you confirm? Did she run off with him or did he run off with her? We need your input in the chat.
Still a better love story than Twilight.
Yes.
I'm speechless.
You know, I'm happy for them. I wish them the best.
Dan's response: can't they just run off with each other?
Yes.
No,
yes,
one has to be dragging the other, kicking and screaming. That's how relationships work, right?
Oh God.
Lucas, what are you teaching her?
Or was Locust the one drag kicking and screaming?
That,
I'm gonna
let's
say that
not.
it's probably that way.
We're already having this argument about
Down that
Orist
rabbit
and the and the lady. Let's not have the argument about me and Darby. All right, we're having one argument. Let's just stick with the one argument.
But I don't have anywhere else to go, and well, if I want reactant and things to experiment with, it seems without my connections with the engineering guild, you may be my only option. I mean, I do my cart. I have my cart and my horses, and I mean it does technically have a pressurized core system installed. I don't know if you could find that useful, but
I can practically hear Jurgen's ears pricking up.
What was the engineering guild paying you for your commission?
oh well. I don't like talking money, but I did get paid 5 gold a day. It was
Well-
very dangerous work.
Well, unfortunately, I'm afraid that with our current financial situation, you may have to take a bit of a pay cut. Would you be willing to work for 4 gold a day?
I'd be willing to work for 3 if you'll feed me.
We will feed you, 3 gold will work, and once we see about turning our fates around and get into a more comfortable situation, we can see about raising your pay. And Jurgen would extend his hand.
Friends, then I am with you. Also, I can do some small repairs if you need that. For a small fee, of course. I don't have all the resources all the time.
Of course. But that may be very necessary going down the road, especially considering the state the cart we got from the Collections Guild. I've always been a little bit concerned about its axles.
Well, if we can find some good heartwood, we might be able to fix that, but this is not really the place to do it. We need a proper lumberyard. This is not the sort of thing you can hack out with an axe. At least, well, axles need to be straight and balanced. Otherwise, they don't work very well. It's like the main shaft that was in all the way in Call years ago. It was off by about 5 degrees, and the whole thing just literally shook itself apart and blew the bishop's head off. It was quite funny. I mean, I guess I can't say that. They're very protective of the bishop, but he was looking down into the maintenance shaft at the time for reasons we've still not figured out.
Sigmund is like getting like eyeing the cart, and maybe at that time has looking down the maintenance shaft, and then immediately looks back up.
Jurgen catches this and just kind of cracks a small smile. Either way, it'll be good to have you with us, Victor. I'm sure that your services will be much appreciated.
Well, I look forward to many adventures to come. So, when's lunch?
Oh, probably about the time we get into Stuttgart. We're going to be heading down. We'll take a break, but we need to do some shopping and, of course, rest a little bit before we head on to Pforzheim.
Wonderful. I haven't eaten in a few days, so I'm rather hungry. But I won't bother you with that. I will see you in town. And he kind of wanders off.
What is that guilt tripping shit?
Yeah.
Get back here!
Yeah, Jurgen's gonna go ahead because they were just being done with breakfast when the duders showed up. There'd be some leftovers from breakfast. He's gonna go ahead and find some and get it to Victor. Some oats, some meat, something to fill his stomach.
He kind of he just sort of takes it and sort of starts eating it, and then kind of looks, pulls the bowl down from the front of his face kind of covered in the the I don't want to call it oatmeal, but
Yeah, basically oatmeal.
And says, "Oh, thank you. Sorry, I got carried away." But I'll pull up behind the carts, and unfortunately, I think you may have to go ahead of me. Is not fastest cart.
No, it doesn't look it, but welcome to the Gotterdammerung, Victor.
Thank you. It's very warm in winter, however. I don't know if that's useful.
Maybe.
But when it gets cold, the cart stays about 120 degrees. So, maybe too hot.
That does sound unhealthy.
We can cook on it.
Well,
Yeah.
cores, small enclosed spaces, 300 psi. It's not the most inviting area, but I don't exactly have a lot of options. You can't just carry a core externally, because then people see it.
Of course not, and that
It's
only
kind
invites
of
trouble.
expensive.
Indeed.
But I will join you on the trip when we eventually make camp. I will begin to look into some things. I do still have those masks that I made for the mines. Do you still want those?
Yes, I think those actually would become very useful for the company in the future. I don't know when we'll be needing to operate in a environment with no air, but if we do again,
Well, I was able to actually compress some more air using a steam engine. Very moist air, of course, so not good for long-term storage. But for filling up before use, you probably have 15-20 minutes of high-pressure air that you could use with that mask.
Jurgen,
Not a permanent air supply, but it would certainly allow you to breathe in hostile conditions, smoke, gas, etc., those sort of things.
Jurgen
before the
nods
fucking underwater
slowly.
Oh god,
they-
not a water level.
Would they work underwater, Victor?
No, these masks would not. They're airtight, but I don't think they'd work well underwater. I could work on something for underwater. Do you need to go?
No, thank
No,
you.
no, we not as a need. It was just more of a curiosity in case it ever came up. But no, I don't think that should be much of an issue.
All right. Well, I have 4 of them. I will need a new coat eventually because I kind of used my coat to make them, and well, we
Again,
work
with
with
the
what
guilt
you
tripping.
have, as they say, and that's all I had. But maybe we can improve it on the road. I don't know where that little Hispanic accent came from a second ago.
Yeah, me neither.
You jumped the
Little wad
border.
slipped in there.
He's Victor.
Well, I will go back to my cart and we will talk later.
Yes, absolutely.
And he kind of leaves and goes about sort of getting his horses ready for the trip. The monks have spent most of their time attaching the sort of heavy tow chains and cables to this rather well-built sled that the Collectors Guild had built. And are mostly just kind of jealously prodding at their prize. They're not keeping the rest of the groups from seeing it, but they've sort of thrown a big, heavy sort of set of canvas tarps that they had bought from the Collectors Guild before they left, and have strapped it all down and tried to hide as much of it as they could because, well, it would draw a lot of attention if people knew what it was underneath.
Of course.
But for the most part, they're just sort of off doing their own thing, attaching it to one of the lighter carts. And when you all are ready, they would follow on their horses. Is there anything else you'd like to do before you leave?
We already had breakfast, right?
You already had breakfast.
I think I'm good.
Porters packed up your camp. It's not your responsibility anyway. You have hired people to do that kind of work for you.
I will use the restroom.
Okay. There is no restroom.
I will use a tree.
There you go.
Oh god, you're female. Don't do like handstands up on it or what. I don't know how you're gonna make that work.
You just squat. That's how that
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, but she's on a tree. That's a vertical thing.
No, you do like a sitting, like,
You know what? We don't actually really need to get into this. It's okay. Let me be confused.
No.
You do
Now
a
we
wall
do,
sit.
because-
You do a wall sit.
No, I don't.
You do a wall sit, and you're kind of squatting, and you move your pants out of the way, and then yeah.
Good talk. Can we move on?
Well, while you're doing your wall squat against the tree, Elise walks up to you.
Oh god.
Elena, she shouts loudly into the woods.
Elena would kind of look around like, fuck. Yeah?
What? Why did you go after me in the woods that day?
This
Where
isn't
are you?
this isn't a good time for this. Don't look for me. I'm
behind this. No, you're not back here. I hear your voice.
Elise, go. I'm peeing.
Is there a... Oh, I'm sorry. Is there something you wanted to talk about earlier?
No, I'm peeing.
Okay, I'll let the group know. And Elise wanders away and finds Brita.
Well, it's good to see you back.
Yes, I actually, now you need to roll 1d3 for me.
What? Oh,
You need to roll 1d3 for me.
okay. 1 sec.
Alright. She comes back with about 2 days worth of food being carried by one of the porters.
After
You have
coming
9
to
days.
see me pee?
No, she did this before. She went back to camp and decided to seek you out at the most inconvenient time intentionally.
Elise is really fucking good at this, okay? She just takes a stroll off to see where you are, and boom, 2 days worth of food.
No, that's what she was doing last night. She came back in the morning with food.
Gotcha.
She sort of says, "Yeah, I brought. I was able to finally find a deer after things calmed down. By the way, Elena wants you to know she's peeing. I don't know why."
Brita stares at her kind of blankly for a moment and then just forces a small smile. Well, thank you for finding her.
She's over behind that tree if you need to talk to her. Though she doesn't seem like she's really willing to talk right now.
Can I hear this?
Yes.
You know, I think I'll let her be for now. She seems
Not even
like
gonna
she's
force you to
very
roll a
busy.
check.
Thanks, Brita.
I'm sorry, did you want me to invade your privacy, dear?
Sure, if that's what you're into, feel free to watch. I don't judge.
How are you still peeing? Are you feeling all right?
I'm
That must be some very impressive pressure. Are you sure you're okay?
I'm just trying to find something to wipe with. Thank you.
Oh, don't use the prickly leaves.
If you wipe with poison ivy, I'm not helping you.
I almost want to say this is a circumstance check, but I'm not that much.
Oh shit!
Why would you do it when he said he wasn't gonna make you? You're just asking to wipe your ass with poison ivy.
No,
God, I hope my parents didn't hear me yell that.
So you lose your pants. A squirrel just ran right off with them.
She's
The rabbit
just chronic.
who got skinned earlier runs by and runs off with your pants into the.
Oh my god, I'm not mad. I'm just
All
impressed. Good for you,
Elena
little
just
guy.
decides to own it, pulls up her underwear.
No, I'm just joking.
Okay.
You don't need to do that. Anyway, I believe that everyone's ready to go, so you hit the road. Now is when I actually do need a circumstance check by only one person. Okay?
I'll do it. Oh fuck. I should have done it.
Well,
Mm.
cool. All right. That's fine.
Sorry, guys.
You wasted your circumstance roll on wiping your ass. I hope you're happy.
I can't even defend myself.
As you sort of are heading back, you can see the sky darken slightly and a light rain begins falling on the road. At first, it's really not concerning, but probably about 10 or 11 o'clock, the rain has increased. I wouldn't say torrential, but certainly enough that the road is beginning to become quite difficult to traverse.
Bertolt
These
just like
early
shivers a
spring
little.
rains are just mudding up the path.
Phew. I wonder who invited this bad luck on us.
Who indeed?
Elena would just kind of shrug and grumble.
So it actually takes you till probably 4 or 5 in the afternoon before you would come to Stuttgart. Do you want to break in the rain, or do you want to just continue on?
I mean, how bad is it raining?
It's not raining enough that the path is going to wash out, but it's raining hard enough that you have been slowed significantly. Especially dragging 2.5 tons on a sled.
And
I'd say
that's,
the horses probably need a rest.
yeah, low
Yeah.
visibility as well. This doesn't seem like the best.
Okay, so you are going to break for lunch at normal time? Let the
Yeah.
horses rest, those kind of things?
We kind of need to baby them.
Yep.
Okay. All right. As you sort of stop, and there's sort of an improvised one of your porters and the caravan guards kind of pull down one of the back of the carts to have a sort of extended flat area, and begin putting together some, bread, fruits, those kind of things that don't need to be cooked in order for y'all to eat, and starts handing out portions of food.
Quick question. With the addition of Victor, you said he had horses too. Does that mean
He
we
has
have
2 horses.
extra horses?
Well, those 2 horses are pulling his cart,
Never mind.
and his cart is heavy. It is heavy enough that it will pretty much always be at the back of the.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
It's okay. Can I get a? So who's on lookout during this time, or is anyone particularly paying attention?
Jurgen would be paying attention.
All right, give me a looking around roll.
Christ.
Okay, come on.
Okay.
Never mind.
Can you teamwork that? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I was gonna say, can I teamwork that with him?
I mean, you can. It'll get you a 6.
Isn't a 6 still a failure?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does
Till we
somebody
change it.
does somebody have a better melancholy? Nah, that's metagaming.
No, I think the max you can get is +2. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is even if you succeed, the max you can get is you can modify his roll by 2.
Sorry, we haven't had game in so long. I've kind of forgotten the rules.
It's okay. That's not a bad thing because we're changing the rules soon.
I didn't roll out nearly enough ones.
You
Apparently not.
really didn't.
But it's okay. We can't hold that against you. RNGesus is a vengeful being. Um,
I'm gonna roll a circumstance check on my fruit sandwich.
okay.
It's not great.
It's not
Oh,
a great
no.
fruit sandwich. The rain has made the bread soggy. You're not sure, but someone may have dropped some of the fruit.
Can I just
Maybe
ask
to-
who does a fruit sandwich?
It's not a fruit sandwich. It's bread and fruit.
Oh,
If you want to make a fruit sandwich, that's up to you.
Zygmunt tried to invent it and he failed.
Nah, he succeeded in inventing a fruit sandwich, but he realized it's just a really disappointing concept in general.
Yeah.
You just took like a pear and put it between 2 slices of
Yeah,
bread.
exactly.
he's now calling himself an engineer.
And if I had succeeded, I would have invented a PB&J.
Oh, that would. Oh, yeah.
Except you don't have peanuts.
I would have found
Cashew butter.
peanut farm.
Sunflower butter.
Apple butter. It would have been apple
Apple
butter
butter.
on one side and fucking grape jelly on the other, and that actually would sounds fucking delicious. I need to get some apple butter. Holy shit.
Anyways, you really don't see anything of particular concern. Lunch is disappointing, obviously, but it's nothing. You're not going to starve. And certainly you're not going to be in the state where you would be distracted later because you didn't eat. Also, your horses really did appreciate the break because they were really forcing themselves through mud. And mud is one of those things that it's very easy to get your horse's legs injured in. Because you sink down, the ankle goes the wrong way, bad things happen. Isn't that correct, Derby?
What's up?
Mud and horses, it's very easy to injure legs that way.
Yeah.
I thought you were asking her like that, like she had broken her leg in the mud.
No,
No,
that
I've
wasn't a
never
sarcastic.
broken
That was a
my
true.
body.
I need a horse expert.
That is what I am here for, is to bring that level of realism to this super serious game.
I don't have any witty comebacks.
I mean, it would be out of place if Brita's concept wasn't effectively calming presence boobs. I'm not wrong. Read the character sheet.
Did nobody see my comments about orphanage?
No, we saw the
We
horse.
saw the orphanage comments.
Anyway, getting back on the road, the rain continues. It just sort of seems to hang over your head. And it's still raining when you get into Stuttgart. Stuttgart, for the most part, seems about the same. You don't see as many people on the street because they're out of the rain, but all the sounds of the pubs are full. You can hear people singing and drinking and merrymaking. Generally, the town is still alive. You see, there's lights on the street and candles and flyers put in windows, but not much else is really happening in town. The streets are pretty much empty except for the occasional merchant moving barrels and those sorts of things. You have probably just enough time for one store visit each before things close up for the night. So you can split into groups or you can go individually, but if you need something from Stuttgart, now is the time to speak.
I guess I need to get that sword.
Okay.
That's going to be a fun conversation.
Take Brita with you so she can jiggle at the store owner.
This is a possibility.
I don't think I ordered anything, correct?
No. They dropped their sword. He dropped his sword off to be repaired. But you are here in town and may shop or pick up an item that you might need.
Elena would probably go shopping for some rope, as well as some additional hooks in case
Okay.
she needed like backups for chain hook stuff.
Okay. That's something that would be at the same store that Tyler is going to. I mean, Zygmunt is going to.
Then Elena would follow after Zygmunt, looking particularly soggy.
Okay.
Not in the
Anybody
sexy
else
way.
Going to the weapon store.
I don't think Berthold needs anything. His Polex is fine, and no progress, obviously, on the remains of the switch axe.
Haven't gotten to a place that would have something yet, though you are headed towards Aderjaeger, which is where it was made.
Yes. So he is anticipating that at least.
Jurgen,
I'm gonna go see the stables about some horses. Actually, are there farms near town?
of course there are.
That's what I figured. Then let's go see if they've got any horses that they're willing to sell. Some good, strong farm horses.
I guess Berthold will join Jurgen in that, but since don't want to be alone on these things.
Yeah.
So let's start off with the weapon group, and then we will go to the farm group, and I think that's all we're going to have time for tonight, based on how things are looking. And then next week we can begin this trip to Forsheim. All right, weapon store people. The shop is still open. Who is here all together? I know Zygmunt, Elena, is Brita there too? She muted herself.
Sure, I muted myself. Sorry.
It's okay.
I thought I was on the inverse. I was trying to unmute myself, and I am not intelligent.
It's all right. It happens. So, as you three kind of walk in, the shopkeep who had been at the auction is sort of sitting wearily at the table, rubbing his temple as he sees you walk in, and there's just scowl that just spreads across his face. So, did you reconsider my offer?
I'm afraid not, but we did have a contract for a weapon repair.
Oh,
And
yes.
I intend to pay you for that for the work.
Sword. Yes, give me just a minute. And he kind of wanders into the back, and you can hear things shuffling, and there's some shouting as he sounds like he's yelling at one of the store assistants. The sound of forges and whatnot's flaring to life in the background as he probably gets some shop workers back to work, even though there probably isn't that much to do on a quiet day like this. And he comes back out with wrapped in sort of a nice velvet bag with cords on the end to keep it together, and he kind of brings it out. And the sword is completely repaired. It's been sharpened. You can see definitely that there's maybe the angle isn't exactly the same as it was originally. But for the most part, the sword looks just brand new.
I mean, it looks like it's functional and a good weapon. Okay, good.
Looks like an excellent weapon. But you can tell that it has been modified of some sort. Not like covered in mechanical things. I mean, modified to repair it. They had to change some parts of it.
Ah, I see.
Considering it broke.
Right, like yeah. It was superheated and then probably stepped on.
Yes. Had to be completely. He kind of pulls the cord. He pulls the cord away and sort of lifts it up for him. Had to be completely reheat treated. We had to adjust the tang because it had actually been broken towards the end, and then with reheat treating, the curve changed, and well, it's just the way metal is, but it is back in one piece and definitely should serve you for quite a while. How do you intend to pay today, sir?
Reichsgulden.
Okay, that will be 500 Reichsgulden, please.
That's a large price, right?
That's pretty hefty, but is not necessarily out of the question.
Well, I did kind of fuck this guy over, so Zygmunt will kind of.
You could probably get a similar sword for that cost, but it wouldn't be your sword.
Right.
Right.
Zygmunt kind of pauses for a moment at the price, and then just kind of solemnly nods his head, kind of reaches into his waist and produces the money and pays the man.
He just sort of takes the money over to the back and he puts it away and he comes back. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
Elena at this point would step in and raise her hand. Yes, I am looking for some hooks.
Oh, what sort of hooks? We've got chain hooks, we've got barbs, we've got spikes and pitons. What type of hooks were you looking for?
Out of character, I want to say chain hook, but let me Google what a pitong is.
It's basically a spike that's used to climb.
One of those things that I can't pronounce out of character, and one of the chain hooks.
Okay, let's see here. How long do you need the chain?
I was actually hoping to purchase rope instead, and use the hook as a backup.
Oh, okay. Well, obviously, of course, that, just regular rope is not typically all that tough. I mean, are you using it for pulling yourself up, or is this for use against adders?
For pulling myself up.
Oh, well, in that case, well, I don't typically sell chain hooks with rope, but I could sell you the hook.
The hook is fine.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's see here. You like a single hook and a point, bladed? What would you prefer?
A hook and a point.
All right, let's see here. And he kind of is sort of shuffling at things under a desk, and he brings out one that kind of looks. It's got a little wide. It's got a very wide hook on one side, and then point almost looks like something you'd see on the end of a pole arm, but ends obviously in a sort of a metal circle at the bottom of it. And he brings out the one he brings out is actually covered in sort of gilding. It's actually extremely good looking. Looks actually expensive.
Elena would kind of raise her eyebrows. That seems a little excessive in terms of how pretty it is. How well does it function?
Well, it functions well as all of our weapons. It just you have to understand we usually appeal to a more discerning clientele.
Elena's eyebrow raises just a little bit higher as if he's implying that she is not discerning in her soggy pants.
Makes no response. If you just want a simple hook, let me see what I've got.
I'm looking for something sturdy, not necessarily, she frown, gaudy.
I see. Well, I suppose we could go a simple iron hook. Would that work for you? I do have these chain hook launching pistols. Is that something you'd be interested in?
What?
I'm sorry, can you repeat? A pistol that launches hooks?
Well, yes, in a sense. It's got both a hook on it and you can actually project a chain hook as well. Very popular. He kind of pulls it out of the thing. I just sold a pair of them to one of the Einführers of the Valkyries. She was very happy with the product.
Elena would kind of. Is it right there, by the by?
It's as close as I can find in real life. Yeah.
No. I mean, like, is the object physically nearby?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He brings it up out from behind the counter.
She'd pick it up and heft it. And how heavy is it?
It's. I mean, you're not throwing the pistol, so it's got some weight to it.
Is it something that a little tiny person like her could reasonably carry on her person
yeah.
without?
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And
pulls out a thing, and it can fire both these barbed spikes, which are better for softer material, or you can use it to sort of lob heavier hooks onto things. Of course, you have to manually load it, but you trade off that weight savings by making it more functional, more flexible. As you can attach the string right, you can attach it right to the back. You will have to coil it in some sense, but I actually do have a belt mechanism for that if you're interested.
a belt mechanism?
Oh, yes. Yes, well, if you look, he kind of goes into the back and he brings it out, and it's probably, it kind of looks like a large, like, leather drop holster almost, but there's a sort of black cylinder that's almost looks like it has a spiral cut into it. And there's a big heavy ring attached to the side that it is also designed attached to a belt. And the chain wraps around it so that when it's fired, it comes free and goes off. It doesn't reel up, but it would be somewhere that would, if you had it in a holster next to it, for example, it would stay collapsed in that form.
Lena would kind of frown a little bit. What would you be willing to sell this at?
This? Oh, well. Well, Shardlock pistols. This is a special design.
And also, what powers these pistols? Is it traditional gunpowder?
Yes, it's gunpowder as ignited by a shard and impact.
Does that mean it would require a new shard for every single launch?
No, certainly not. You have to understand, because of the crystalline nature of cores, shards don't shatter smaller than that. They are at a fixed size, and a significant impact will, especially with a metallic item, specifically copper or copper alloy, causes a significant spark on impact, which we then use to ignite that. Much more reliable than flint, and it really doesn't get, well, it doesn't hold moisture, so it's better for use in the field. Obviously, it does bring the price up a bit, but...
Are you implying that this is waterproof?
Unloaded, yes. Loaded, no.
Because of the gunpowder.
Of course.
Yeah. Sorry, again, what were you considering selling these at?
Well, yeah, just for the shard alone, you're looking at 10,000. All this custom work, new chain, a good proper chain. Probably 18,000.
Lena would hold up a finger and start digging around in her bags and pull out her original chain hook that she has, and to modify this. And if I brought my own shard.
Well, if you bring your own shard, I mean, that's 10,000 off right there. Unfortunately, I cannot. I can't use either the chain or the hook from this. It needs to be. Well, I suppose I could use the chain, but chain is not the expensive commodity here. I'd say you could probably get it for 7,500.
Oh, Jay, I have a question out of character.
Okay, sure.
Specialty, sleight of hand, and con artist. Can I
Jesus.
use can I use the con artist in a way to talk this guy down in price?
This is where the GM goes, I don't know, can you?
Cool.
Oh, this is gonna be good. Anyone want popcorn?
So I'm going to use the move Silver Tongue to get a +1 to any con artist related move.
All
And
right.
I'm going to basically try to out-talk the sleazy car salesman, given the person playing the character is not good at sleazy car salesman talk, so I have no idea where to go with this.
Okay, but understand one thing. I do expect you to actually try to outtalk me in character, not just a roll.
I will try, but if I fail spectacularly, you promise you can't laugh too hard.
Oh no, I will not make that promise.
Thanks for the faith, Cog.
But go for it. Understand he is upset with you already, but go ahead.
Wait. Why is he upset with me?
Well, you're part of Godadameron.
By association.
He doesn't know that. I haven't introduced myself.
Walked in with the other two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just this street urchin that follows them around.
I mean, she does kind of look soggy.
Yep. And he knows you're an Aderjaeger. Chain hooks, and chain hooks are not just a typical thing around here.
Sir, what makes this any more special than any of the other chain hook guns that I can get in the map is not up, so I can't pull up what the name is, but
I can fix that.
Adershield?
yeah.
Horsheim?
Stuttgart.
I was gonna say Adershan.
Oh,
We're
well,
in Stuttgart.
I thought you were meant because you were going there. My bad. So yeah, it would be Stuttgart you're in.
In Stuttgart? I can guarantee you there's no one else in Stuttgart who makes a product finer than I.
What exactly gives you that guarantee?
Experience. Customer
How so?
satisfaction. Time in town.
If that is the case,
Also,
might we put
no
it to
one
the
else in
test?
Stuttgart is selling chain pistols. I know.
Well, I would agree not. This is quite a small area, but we are on our way there, so I'm wondering...
Adershield? Oh,
yes.
There's nothing physically that would, for example, differentiate them except for about 100 miles and 2 weeks worth of trip.
Well, if I'm already on my way there, it doesn't make much of a difference to me if I
Do
have
you
to
really
wait a
think
little
it'll
bit
be all
longer.
that much cheaper there? Have you checked the prices in Adershield? It's not exactly a cheap place to live.
No, but the technology is far more available.
Then Stuttgart, the gunsmithing capital of all of the Holy Roman Empire.
Yes, and we're talking about Adershield, the Adder technology.
Have you been to Adershield, child?
Oh, don't you child me.
He's at least twice your age, probably.
She'd kind of crick her jaw just a little bit like, are you serious?
How old is she, actually? Let me check that.
No, I don't remember.
Okay. He is old. I'll just put it that way. He's older than you. Unless you want to pull a 70-year-old woman into a lane.
No, but she's an incredibly frugal woman, given...
I get that. I still haven't gotten a roll.
Oh, right. You need a roll. Hey, man, I'm trying here.
I guess I assumed Zygmunt was the oldest, but I guess I don't know for sure. I know he's 34. Just because I assumed Aderjaeger don't really live that long.
Typically not. The average age for most Aderjaeger is in the early. There are ones that are older, but...
Oh!
Congrats, you just properly succeed. Why? What would be your counter offer?
All right, what was he actually offering? Because I've already...
7,500.
If we provide our own chart.
If you provided your own chart.
5,000.
He thinks about it. I'll sell you the pistol for 5,000, but all the hooks are 500 each.
How many hooks does this come with?
It doesn't come with hooks. He's selling you the pistol, which has a hook on it, so it can be used as a climbing aid. But to actually project hooks, it would cost you'd have to have hook and hook to a chain.
She'd counter. All right. But will you include the chain?
Yes, chain's a trivial matter.
Can I also get some rope thrown in then?
I mean, now we're just splitting pennies. I suppose so. Sure. Also, these.
I was gonna say she would have countered if he had said that. If he had just stopped at "you're splitting pennies," I would have been like, "Have you seen what I look like? A beggar makes splitting over pennies a deal." I think you have a deal, sir.
All right, that will be. How many hooks did you want?
I think 2.
2. So that will be 6,000, if you please.
Sweet. Do I have that on me?
No.
So I don't think so.
Jurgen has all your money. At least all the actual.
Yup.
Sigmund just
You
looks
might
at.
have 600 on you, assuming you got what 100 a month, according to your original charter. You might have 600, and I think you started off with 75. Most of it at cards getting your pants back, if I recall correctly.
I did not spend any money in getting my pants back. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, I'm just saying the most I could even see you remotely pulling off would be 600. You had 75 at the start of the campaign.
How long will it take to procure these items, sir?
He kind of looks down at the item that's in his hand and then looks back up at you.
She'd sigh. I meant the hooks.
Oh, the hooks I have on hand. I told you I made a large order for 2 weeks ago.
Let me talk with the person that is in charge of our funds, our treasurer, and make sure that he gets your payment to you. In the meantime, may I provide a down payment?
Well, of course. We won't sell the item out from under you with a down payment, of course.
All right. She would hand him 500.
He takes it and puts it away. I will expect the rest relatively soon. Unfortunately, I can only hold it for a few days. We do run a very busy shop here.
I understand. And Elena would promptly turn around and walk out of the store as confidently as possible while thinking in the back of her head, shit.
Sigma's just laughing.
All right. Farm people. Jurgen and Berthold. So, are you? What is your rhyme and reason here searching for a horse? Are you just gonna go farm to farm? Are you looking specifically one that looks like they have stables? What's your what is your path?
Jurgen probably would have asked somebody where he could get like a strong plow horse, something that's got a lot of power, not necessarily bred for speed, but horses bred for farm work, powerful horses. He probably would have asked and then headed out to wherever they have stables.
He would have been directed fairly easily to a large horse breeder that's actually not too far outside Stuttgart. And as you kind of walk in, you notice that it's not like you'd expect a lot of horse breeders to be. It's sort of a large pasture land, and then there's the building that it's actually focused in is almost a small castle that's attached to the stables. Not so much a curtain wall, but as sort of a fortified keep that seems to be attached to the long stables on one side.
Jurgen's going to sort of blink with surprise and look towards Berthold before shrugging and heading on up to the entrance.
Works for me.
Now, as you approach, you notice that there's house servants moving around. This is obviously a fairly wealthy family. Horses probably are not whatever their primary business is. And as you sort of approach, the house servants sort of come out and greet you and say, "Hello, sir. How can I help you today?"
Yes, me and my compatriot here are looking for a good strong horse that can carry a cart long on the road.
"Oh yes, the Meister sells many horses, breeds them. Bit of a fascination of his. Apparently runs in the family."
That's not creepy at all.
And actually, specifically, as you look towards the door, there is a golden horse painted on the main wood.
Who? You said the Meister? This is the Bürgermeister of Stuttgart?
Yes.
Jurgen's going to suddenly stand up somehow even straighter.
The Meister is not here at the moment. Apparently, he has traveled new horses. But we do, of course, keep all his accounting in place.
Ah, so you would be able to sell us in his stead?
Yes, of course. With some exceptions. Yes, his horse accounting.
Yep, this is horse accounting. All right. Well then, that seems acceptable. Of course, we aren't necessarily looking to buy prize horses. We just need something sturdy and tough.
Well, we do have some older horses. We do have some former war horses that have been rehabilitated. What were you looking for specifically, other than just strong?
Cart horses, horses that can be on the road for many hours a day without much fatigue.
Yes. The Meister had a captain of the guard for many years. Great asset in battle, was killed unfortunately in a Gulan attack, but his horse survived. The horse has some scars, but very strong horse. But doesn't tend to get along well with. We've had to isolate him for
You
safety
cut out.
reasons.
Who doesn't
Yeah.
he get along with?
Yeah, you
Other
cut out.
horses.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know how I cut out, but thanks.
Out of character, is this a horse of note?
It could be.
Can I have
That's
it?
up to the players.
I know how to handle pissy horses.
Yep.
Mm,
Oh
You
my
do,
god.
but does Brita?
yeah, but I got
Oh my god. Anyways, moving on. I'm sorry, Jay. What were you saying about this guard's
The
former?
horse. Summarizing, the horse doesn't get along with other horses. Was the only survivor of a Gulan rider was killed. Comes from very strong, war horse background, but because the horse is obviously damaged both a little bit physically and somewhat mentally, they've isolated it. So the Meister is willing to sell it, basically, for much cheaper than what a proper war horse would cost.
How well does he handle the sound of gunfire, say, or cannon fire?
It's not gunfire that seems to bother it. It just sort of, well, we have not been able to put him out to stud because he doesn't seem to get along well with other horses.
Well, but
The
one.
Meister has already lost one servant to it, and he's not quite willing to hold on to him much longer. Especially
Lost
for
a
the
servant? Huh?
Yes, trampled to death.
Impressive.
was
That's
the
Reared up and
circumstance?
stomped him. Crushed his head, the poor thing.
How did he aggravate the horse? Was it just the presence of other horses, or had the servant
We
done something?
don't know. It was late one night. He'd gone out to check, make sure the stables were locked, and while he was in there, apparently the horse lost its composure, and, well, a human skull is nothing compared to the weight of a horse on it. Took us almost a week to repaint the stable.
Jurgen just kind of scratches at his chin and looks to Berthold. If it was towing the cannon, it wouldn't need to be around the other horses. We could keep it isolated fairly easily.
that true. Uh, in regards to so there's like any physical deformities or what's the word I'm looking for? Maladies of the sort.
Yes, it unfortunately suffered some very grievous wounds. They've healed now, but unfortunately the coat never really came in properly. So it's both shorter and well, it's much lighter color than his usual gray.
So it's a pale horse.
No, it's actually quite a dark horse, but the scars are much lighter colored, almost white.
But aside from looks, it hasn't impacted him physically, has it?
As far as we can tell, he actually recovered quite well from the injuries. We were afraid that he would have to be euthanized, but no, he seemed to snap back quite well, and except that he just doesn't seem to. Well, whatever it was that attacked him seemed to have bothered him significantly. Doesn't like horses or dogs.
Can we see him?
Oh, of course. Unfortunately, it is getting late, so we do not have much time. But if you'll follow me to the stables, and she kind of takes you and sort of turns, and actually you can hear her speak French to one of the small servant boys, and he runs off into the house to complete whatever task he was at. And she kind of motions you in, and he's all the way at the end. You have to excuse me, I don't get too close. I would like to avoid a recurrence of what happened to my friend.
And what's his name?
This is Damocles. We didn't rename him after his owner was. We just took possession when his family couldn't take him.
Well, that's a fitting name, I'd say.
Indeed.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, since I didn't do fuck all when I was supposedly with the group that went shopping, can I be with these guys?
Sure.
Oh God.
I want the fucking horse.
You gotta, what is it? What is the thing of bilocation, Tyler? From 13th Age?
Echolocation?
No, bilocation.
Oh,
That Ferris has. I don't think Tyler's here right now.
Yeah, we may have lost her for
Omnipotent?
that.
It's from another game, 13th Age.
Yeah, it's like a
Omnipresent.
cloak of bilocation.
Yeah.
Be two places
what?
at once. Oh yeah, there he is, Tyler.
What is the cloak of bilocation, or is it a girdle? What is it?
No, so the girdle is
Girdle?
Yeah.
trying to remember what the actual name for it, but it was the cloak of bilocation.
Cloak of bilocation. There we go. Which
Girdle
allows Ferris
deceit.
to be in two places.
Which
Girdle.
makes you
Girdle.
seem like somebody who is like tangentially related to where you should be. So like if you're in a castle, you might look like a guard or a maid or something.
No, I just picture you putting this thing on. Look, guys, I'm not fat anymore.
I mean,
that's
what
just
the
a regular girdle.
deceit. Yeah, that's why it's a girdle of deceit. You have to understand.
All girdles are girdles of deceit if you think about it that way. Okay,
Anyway,
but no,
sorry.
seriously, since I didn't say a word and I didn't do any rolls in that other fucking scene, I'm with you guys instead. Hell yeah.
No.
What are
what
you
a
guys,
difference.
like putting a girdle on this horse or what?
No. Brita is just teleporting from your group to the other group, apparently, because she didn't do anything in the other.
And I want the fucking horse.
She wants horse boy.
Oh my God.
Trampy
Anyway,
boy.
as you can see, he's
Look,
quite
you've
an
gotten
imposing.
to have all your cannons and shit.
It's the company's cannon, not my cannon.
Yeah, well, you were the one who jacked off over it.
No, I'm just the one who shot the shit out of the adder with it.
Elena's gonna bring this up later if Brita's able to get a horse and be like, well, she got a horse. Can't I get the gun?
Anyway, Damocles is in the last stall, and he is an imposing specimen. Tall, well-toned, maybe a little, maybe not underfed, but leaner than he probably should be. Not because of abuse, but you can tell this horse is agitated even as people just get near it. This is not a horse that is healthy, probably mentally.
He looks rather fierce. I'd say he'd better be suited on the battlefield than holding a cannon.
I'm not sure I would trust a horse that looks that tense on the battlefield.
And why he looked tense makes pretty apparent sense. He almost looks like a zebra. He has so many intercrossing stripes of lighter color. This horse, if it were when he returned, must have come back barely alive.
Oh, a horse is only as good as his rider. So if the rider can't control him, then it's their own fault.
Well, I can think the only rider among us who might be able to control a horse so fierce would be Zygmunt, and he already has his Aderbot.
Just curiously, Brita kind of slips her
We
hand
just
between
jumped
the
on the horse
bars and
back.
no, man, this isn't fucking Bucephalus. I wish. No, she slips her hand through the fucking stall bars and just kind of extends the back of her hand to him for him to smell. Real slow like.
The horse just sort of scoffs at you and sort of seems to almost be pacing back and forth.
She hesitates and then she goes and she scoops some hay off the ground and offers that to him instead.
The horse does not approach.
Get him
He
an
almost
apple.
seems like he's waiting for a race to start, or for the gate to open, or for something to approach so that he can attack it. He is almost anger personified, pacing in this stall.
Are we gonna find
She
a
looks
shepherd?
over to the stable hand or whoever it was who was leading them and she goes, when's the last time you let him out?
Unfortunately, after the servant died, he's not been able to get out as often as typically prefers, but it's for safety, of course. We were hoping that we could either find someone willing to take him in, or, well, that he would calm down, but every time we've come to feed him, he's been attacking the walls.
Well, I'm sure he's just cooped up.
Well, yes, you have to understand, we would prefer not to, but it's become dangerous to even enter his pen.
Well, then you just perpetuate the problem, don't you?
We don't have enough servants to replace them all the time, ma'am.
Well, how many men has he killed?
Just one so far, but another was badly injured.
Well, I think if we acquired him and we gave him the exercise and the stimulation he needs, he shouldn't have any problems feeling the Sansi.
Well, if you'd like to take him, we're quite willing to sell you, but of course he then becomes your issue. The
Naturally.
Meister is considering putting him down.
Well, that seems like a perfect waste.
He's quite upset because the horse's former was a good friend of his. He mourned his loss for quite a long time.
I understand that. How much is he?
1,200.
Shit, how much is in my personal funds? I don't know where I have that written down.
600 tops. Although
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you only
I
have
would say at this point you all just have 600. Really,
Okay.
you shouldn't have that much, but I'm assuming you all have picked stuff up over the last couple weeks.
I feel like it would be really easy to talk this guy down, considering they were considering killing this horse until now.
That's
Possibly.
true.
also you still haven't done your tits.
That's true as well. I'm sorry, I'm just formulating a battle plan here. Let me think.
Remember, I don't know if the stableman, I believe, is female, so I don't know if it's taking a gamble there.
Wow, that's are you implying that
Dude,
my
everybody likes a good
boobs
pair
do
of
not
boobs.
Yeah, are you implying my
Gender
boobs
privilege.
do not transcend your gender normatives?
Privilege checked.
Yeah.
Roll for privilege.
I mean, in the grips of Roman Catholic Germany,
Yeah.
maybe.
That's
Anyway, out of character, I will tell you, you probably could talk her down simply because it's a business matter. Boobs
Yeah.
not required.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Well, she What, like, okay, so help me out here. What's the surrounding area like? This is in a stable, correct?
Yes, you're in.
And
You're in
then,
a stable.
and then is this
It's a very
stable in an
fancy
area?
stable too.
Yeah. Is this stable in an area that is wholly fenced in, or is this a stable just kind of out in the land by itself?
Oh no, the stable is an extension of a fortified keep, and then it's on a large amount of pastoral land around it. So rolling hills, those sort of things.
Right, but like,
The other horses all look fantastic. In fact, some of them are definitely show horses. It's just that this horse obviously is damaged.
right.
That
I'm
is
just asking, like, if a horse were to get loose,
right.
where
Could it run
can
one
and
way?
can it not go?
Well, it could run straight down the main corridor, and if it got up there, then it could probably run for quite a distance.
Okay, so there's
Not endlessly, because there are fences. I mean, eventually you'll run into his separated land.
Okay.
But he is.
Do the
Burgermeister,
stables
so
have a main door at the end that closes, a big barn door?
it actually has
Okay.
two, but one of them is closed and locked at the moment, and that's the door you're
Correct.
closer to.
Gotcha. So basically, there's a one-way exit right now, and that can be closed.
Yes.
Gotcha. Well, all right. She's gonna look around for a little bit and just go, do you mind if I just try to walk him around for a little bit?
I suppose you could try. You'll understand if we isolate the other horses when you do this.
Absolutely. In fact, why don't you close the barn doors while you're at it, and we'll just keep them in here.
All right. You actually notice that there are several other doors within the stable, so they can kind of, just open one and let one few horses out at a time without letting, potentially opening everything up.
Mhm.
So she kind of closes off the last two stables and towards the door. And so you've got a little wider area. It's still indoors.
Right. Well, assuming that they have a lead for him close by, just kind of obviously there, she would grab that and open up the stall door enough to just kind of wiggle herself inside, then close it behind her.
Okay.
And just kind of slowly inch towards him, being really non-threatening with their whole fucking passive aura up and everything. And
This is about the time Sanguine falls into play.
Shake your boobs at him.
all right, we're gonna boop the horse. I booped the horse.
Jesus Christ.
Yep. The horse. I mean, there's sort of a Damocles just stops at once, and you can kind of see him stomping his hoof, and there is a noise and the sound of hay pushed to the side. Really quite burly, even though somewhat leaner than he should be now. Warhorse stamps its hoof and just sort of snuffs air at you loudly and lowers its head in sort of a sign of aggression, basically saying, back off.
And Brita stays where she is, and she just watches them, and she extends her hand again, not so far as to break into his personal space, but just enough to offer him the opportunity to give her a sniff again, and she just starts kind of talking to him quietly.
And he kind of, there's this great sort of false show of force as he kind of trots back and forth to one side and the back and puts his head down and almost like smacks your hand away. Not like he could actually do anything about it, but just with his nuzzle, just knocks your hand out of the way. Then he kind of goes in a circle, because these are fairly large pens for a horse. This is not the kind of stable that most common people would even be able to see. You could fit probably in a regular stable, this would be the size of like 4 horse pens.
Mm-hmm.
So he has enough room to sort of pace and walk around and get away from you. And he kind of comes back and he just sort of snuffs and stomps at you and then just sort of stops and kind of waits to see your reaction.
And she just stays perfectly put. She doesn't flinch in any direction or anything. And she just goes, "We're gonna take you out. Come on, just calm down a little bit. Let me put this on you, and then we can take you out for a little stroll. And she inches closer a little bit, trying to get her hand under his nose again.
He kind of stays sort of dead still, and his eyes are just locked on you right now. He hasn't done anything, but he is just watching you with the kind of intensity, someone who is ready to just straight up run you through with a sword. He locks eyes with you and just looks right at you.
She's actually not. She's not going to look back, actually. She's going to be dropping her gaze and very visibly having her attention off of him. And while not looking at him, she's going to get a little bit closer and then just kind of not aim to be walking directly at him, but try to slowly move alongside his shoulder.
As you sort of pass his face, he snuffs at you and sort of shakes his head as if to sort of, throw you off and see if that makes you jump back or anything like that. And as you kind of get to his shoulder and are you going to touch him?
Nope, not yet.
Okay, well, as you kind of get to his shoulder, he kind of, he has just one eye that's been tracking you on that side the whole time. He doesn't turn his head. And he sort of shifts to give space between you and him. This is a horse that is not happy with people.
And she stays really fucking passive. And when she gets within probably about a foot between their bodies, she just reaches out a hand and just very gently starts to scratch at his withers where he has this nice little sweet spot. And she just keeps talking to him real quietly and slowly starts to pick up the lead on the side of her body that is facing away from where his head is, and just kind of carefully slip the lead over and around his neck.
Just as you touch him, like as soon as skin touches coat, he lets out a cry that sounds far more threatening than a horse should ever be able to make. And he rears up. The rest of you that are not in there, Jurgen and Bertolt, what is your reaction?
Would Jurgen be able to watch this through the door?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Bertolt's
Doors are not huge. They've got cut openings in them. They've got to let airflow in or
Bertolt's watching as well. He's got his arms folded over his chest and just observing the horse and seeing its reactions to what Brita is doing.
Well, the horse just reared up.
Oh, sorry. I missed that. He would take he would probably take a step forward and not necessarily do anything. But I don't know. It depends on how Brita reacts.
Yeah, Jurgen's got his hand to open the door, but he hasn't opened it yet. He's just more or less hand on the knob. I don't know if this door has a knob, but whatever it has, that would
have knobs. They have latches.
Okay, then on the latch.
He's still got his hand on the knob.
Now, Brita's just it's the second that he reacts like that, she's gonna just take one step and pivot her body backwards so that she's closer to his flank, so that his front hooves are just completely not a threat to her current physical position.
And coming down, he didn't seem to turn. If he had really tried to hit you, he would have, swiveled. He just comes straight back down as he went up. And seeing you not jump out of the way, not, try to avoid or run back to the gate, and no one had opened the gate so that he could immediately escape, he kind of just snuffs loudly, almost dejectedly, and just goes back to watching you. But he seems to have calmed down a little.
Brita just keeps talking to him as she slowly moves forward again and goes back to what she'd been trying to do, getting the lead rope around his neck, and not a tight loop either, just very loosely draping it over the back of his neck so that she has some hold on him. And she just keeps talking. I'm sure you were a wonderful war horse. We're gonna get some work for you, and we're gonna help you out. But you gotta just calm down a little bit. And she's slowly lifting the halter up to kind of so that he sees it coming, but not in a way where it feels like it's closing it around his face in a threatening manner.
Right. He certainly doesn't seem to like that, but he gives a lot less protest than he had even to that. He doesn't rear up again, and you're able to get the lead over his face without too much frustration. But you can tell there's this tension in this whole.
Well,
But for now, he seems to calm down.
once she gets it all fastened around him, she'll take the lead rope down from his neck and hold it properly and just carefully try and get him towards the door and go, you guys might want to step aside. I don't know what's going to happen here.
Well, leading him out, he seems to behave. Not seeing any door open, not seeing an easy way. He just sort of trots around, and there's almost this frustrated, grumpy expression where he's just scoffing occasionally. He's kind of walking. In a way, he probably kind of reminds you of Jurgen a bit.
Of what?
Just some of Jurgen.
Oh.
Actively walking around, grumpily, scruffing at people as they sort of get closer to him, but not outright striking them down.
And she'll just walk kind of up and down the aisle with him a few times, and she's taken the time also to just kind of look over his body more closely than she could from when he was just by himself in the stall. And seeing as there's just old scars, but no actual current injuries to speak of, no lameness or anything, then
he had recovered, but you can tell just from medical.
You keep cutting out, love.
Okay, I don't know why. Anyway, you can tell these scars were quite deep. These are the kind of scars that just do not heal eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And these must have been exceedingly deep wounds at some point, but that was perhaps months ago. But you're not sure the scar tissue is ever going to actually disappear.
Well, we're not really worried about cosmetic stuff anyways, so who cares? But yeah, she just would, monitor his stride a little bit, make sure he's sound, and then she'd look back at the stable hand or whatever the guy's position was who's helping them out here, and she just go, I think he should be all right. Just a little bit of exercise and proper care, and he should level out quite nicely, I think.
And what do you think of his price, Breda?
Well, I think if you're as eager to get rid of him as you are, I don't know why you'd be squeezing us for extra cash. Especially when the alternative is to just put him down and waste him.
I don't mean to squeeze you for anything more than the cost that we put in to heal him back up to working strength, but you're right, he is perhaps more trouble than he's worth here. The Meister has no real need for him, but it was... Well, I suppose him having an actual job would be better than sitting in his stall. What about 800?
I think we can manage that. Now, do you happen to have any... We're looking to maybe add one or two other horses.
I can ask one of the field hands. They do have some plow horses, but I can tell you the quality will not be anywhere near this.
That's alright, I'm okay with not having a named unique horse item. I just need a regular plow horse, that'll be fine.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Jurgen just looks directly into the camera, like he's on The Office.
He just makes that stupid Jim face.
Yup.
Frida's like, who are you looking at? There's nothing there!
They have to take old Jurgen out back and shoot him. He's gone crazy.
So, we could, for example, perhaps do one of the field horses and Damocles for 1,000 total. Would that be agreeable?
That would be agreeable, yes, I think so.
Alright then.
And Jurgen would make sure that the servant is paid their due.
Okay. You all would meet up again back in Stuttgart. And this is where we're going to end, but I have a feeling somebody wants to ask Jurgen a question.
Yup.
Spoilers, it's Elena. Elena?
What about me?
Jurgen's back in town.
Elena would make a beeline for him. Jurgen, can we talk?
Jurgen's going to not respond, but stop and look at her. The frown on his face, not deepening, but not improving either.
Elena would kind of pointedly stare at him and then take her arm and kind of put it around his shoulder and try to steer him away from the rest of the group.
Oh, God.
Jurgen's gonna go ahead and just duck her arm and shrug it off before walking slightly off to the side. What do you want?
Could we speak in private? I have a matter that I have been needing to discuss with you.
Jurgen's gonna stare at her for a moment before... Basically, I assume we're meeting at roughly the inn that we stayed at previously. But since it's got its own little courtyard, Jurgen would step outside the courtyard to where they're out, not so much in public, but, you know, off to the side, in private.
Elena would be making some mutterings about finances and money, but as soon as they're away from the rest of the group, she would double check. Jay, do I need to do any rolls to make sure that like nobody is overhearing?
The NPCs don't care. Everyone else would have to roll for themselves, so you don't have. I mean, you can do to make sure you're far enough away, but I can't. Your role isn't going to necessarily prevent someone else from saying, "I followed."
Oh, I don't care about Brita. I care about Elise.
Elise really isn't following at the moment, so I won't even. You won't even have to really roll. She really is not following you. She was just getting revenge for you, literally following her to the woods and then screaming her name.
Well, she still doesn't know that I know that.
This is done. Because she doesn't know you saw what you saw.
And now everybody else thinks that this is about money. All right. So, since I am going to go ahead and roll to make sure that I'm far enough away from everyone else.
No, I just rolled that I can hear you. Don't make me waste that 11.
I mean, Brita can hear me. Does anybody else want to listen in?
Nah.
Fine. Brita, we're going to break your heart.
Okay, what do I roll to stick my horse on you?
It's 11:37, guys. Let's
Sorry.
More roleplay, less rolling.
Anyway, Elena would make sure, like, look a little bit shifty, and then she would turn to Jurgen and be like, there's been a matter that I've been needing to speak with you about in regards to Elise.
One eyebrow starts to raise above the other. What about her?
Has anything that she has done lately seemed suspicious to you?
Not particularly. She disappears for days at a time, but she's a hunter. That's what she's meant to do. That's what we pay her to do.
And what if I told you that I found her associating with some of her previous friends?
What manner of association?
That I'm not sure about, which is why I haven't confronted her in front of the group yet.
And you saw this with your eyes? Did you hear what was said?
Yes, it sounded as though she was attempting to ply them, or they were attempting to get money from her, and that she was paying them off in some manner to get them to leave her alone.
Hmm. Interesting. I think I may need to speak with the girl.
Not so hasty. We still don't know what this is about. And also, this brings into question, we have been traveling. And if she has been meeting with these people every time, that would imply that we have a group of bandits following us fairly closely.
You raise a fair point. Although we do know the Hatters are on our back after the incident in Forsheim and then in Leonberg.
Yes, and I would rather not have two groups of angry people chasing after us.
Jurgen's going to look at her like she's stupid. The Hatters were behind both groups. Remember?
Lena would just kind of raise her eyebrow. Yes, but these people were paid off, which would mean that everything being said and done, they should have stopped following us once their money dried up.
I don't follow.
It's possible they have another motive than just being paid off by the Hatters.
Either way, we know nothing as of now, and truly the easiest way to find out anything would be to speak with Elise.
I agree, which is why I wanted to let you know about this before confronting her.
I think it might be best if I speak to the girl alone.
Elena would kind of raise her eyebrow. No offense, Jurgen, but you're a little bit frightening to most children. I'm not quite sure that you'd be able to get much out of Elise without scaring the wits out of her.
I don't care if I scare the wits out of her. That's actually sort of the idea. It generally loosens tongues.
Yes, and they tend to just say whatever comes to mind, whether it's fact or fiction.
I wasn't implying that I'd torture the poor girl.
I wasn't implying that you were either. I just know that a scared girl by herself is more likely to offset whatever blame she can. Might be speaking from experience, you know. She just kind of shrugged.
Either way, you're not exactly a people person yourself.
No, I wasn't exactly suggesting that I confront her in terms of asking her. I was thinking more trailing her again.
That would assume that there's going to be that she will meet these people again. If they're paid off, as you said, then it may be a done with the deal. We'll see.
If that's the case, then why has it been the case, or why has she continued to go off and be gone for so long? These hunting trips don't line up with the amount of food that she's bringing back.
Disagree with you there. Have you ever been hunting? It can take you time to track an animal.
Elena would just kind of shrug. She's not exactly the huntress expert.
Either way, another idea would be to get Brita involved. She's more personable with the girl. And
Yes.
While she may not, she may spare the child the rod. At the very least, if I am there alongside her, if punishment is necessary, you can be sure that I will be able to mete it out.
This all seems Fine then. I just figured you would be the best person to bring this forward to. And she would kind of say this grudgingly, as though admitting that Jurgen was in some way of benefit.
I'll speak to Brita and we'll see about having a conversation with Elise and learn the truth of this matter one way or another.
There is another matter that I was wanting to inquire about.
Go on.
I would like to procure some better weaponry for myself to make myself a more valuable member to our team.
How much?
Elena would kind of take a very deep breath, let it out. 6,000? Actually, no, I'm sorry. 5,400. 5,400. And she would say it with a great deal of certainty.
No.
And
Yeah,
if
with
I were to
that, I
tell
think
you...
we'll call it this. No, I'm just kidding.
And if I were to tell...
We are 15 minutes past.
I'm sorry. Oh, fuck. I mean, we can't call it there.
Yeah, we can always come back to this conversation. Just end it on
That
Jurgen.
was pretty definitive.
Just end it
No.
on Jurgen looking her in the face and just saying, no.
Yeah. She's gonna she's gonna try stealing him to get the whole town of Stuttgart after us.
Oh, Christ. We've got enough problems.
Well, thank you all for joining us for another exciting episode of Aderjaeger. Join us next week where we find out lots of stuff potentially. You'll have to find out. Good night.
Good night, everybody.